Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses. He durst not bring about him a railing accusation, but said, "The Lord rebuke thee." The first and most obvious point is that the devil was greater in power than Michael. We, as Christians, as believers, as those who are of the faith once for all delivered unto the saints, do not have the power to go up against Satan, celestial beings, the powers of darkness, in our own strength. We should not be like these people who despise dominions and speak evil of dignities. They really do not know what they are talking about. There is no place else in the scriptures that says that Michael the archangel disputed with the devil over the body of Moses. We do not know anything else other than what Jude tells us right here about this individual action. We do not know what it means to dispute over the body of Moses. We do not know what happened to the body of Moses, and there's nothing in the scriptures and traditions which have been handed down to us except things which are so fanciful and ridiculous that they should be ignored. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts. In those things they corrupt themselves. Very simple. Very straightforward. Again, Jude is talking about sex. But he is talking about far more. They speak evil of things which they do not know. What do we know about evil spirits? Very little. What these people do know, they learn through their natural instincts. However, they use this knowledge to debase themselves, not to do what they should do. Even emperor penguins take care of their young in the bitter cold. Yet human beings who have rejected the law of God will do anything to please themselves, including killing their own children. As the Apostle Paul said, they have made their appetite their gods. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Korah. Three people from very different time periods. Cain goes all the way back to the creation. Adam and Eve's son Cain rose up and slew his brother Abel. The way of Cain is not only murder, but stubborn, selfish pride, doing it my way. This attitude is glorified in the song which Frank Sinatra popularized, My Way. Greedily after the error of Balaam for reward. The Mesopotamian prophet Balaam was called by Balak, the king of Moab, to curse the children of Israel when Moses had them at the Jordan River, ready to cross into the promised land. Balaam came and said, I cannot do anything except what the Lord commands me. He pronounced God's blessing on Israel because God commanded Israel to be blessed. But he still wanted the reward which Balak offered to him. He came up with a plan to destroy the children of Israel by having the children of Israel go after the women of Moab in sexual intercourse as part of the worship of their gods. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the high priest, the son of Aaron, took a spear and ran it through one of the children of Israel while he was having sexual intercourse with one of the leading women of Moab as part of a public worship service. The scriptures say that a leader from the tribe of Simeon brought a Moabite woman publicly into the camp while the rest of Israel was mourning and repenting of this great sin. Then they went into a tent. Phinehas followed them into the tent where he ran a spear through them to show what an abomination it was in the sight of God. Again, they were corrupting themselves naturally in the way that they knew. This last part of verse 11 says that they have perished in the gainsaying of Korah. Gainsaying is not a word which we use today. And I might add that Korah with a K in the Old Testament from the Hebrew and with a C, Kor, is the same person, it's just two different languages. Gainsaying means to speak against. It means rebellion. Korah got the idea that he was just as good as Moses. Unlike Balaam, who knew that he just wanted the money, and unlike Cain, whose pride had hardened his heart so that he said, I do not care what God wants. I'm going to do it my way. And he rose up in a fit of rage and killed his brother. Korah was probably self-deceived. Now, we do not know that. The scriptures do not say that. But why in the world would Korah, after witnessing all the plagues of Egypt, the destruction of the Egyptians, the power of God crossing the Red Sea, Mount Sinai, the worship of Baal, and the golden calf that Aaron had made, would he then come up to Moses and say that Moses was taking too much on himself and that God speaks to me as much as God speaks to you? Is Korah a fool? Or is he simply saying that he has been deceived and that I believe that what I'm saying is right? He convinced other people to go along with him. There were many men with him and their families, their wives, their women and children. Complete families who were destroyed in this rebellion. So I see Jude mentioning this offense in a different light. There are three different things here. The hardened sinner, Cain, who just wants his own way no matter what. The greed of Balaam, and having that greed corrupt you, whatever position you're in. And Korah, letting power corrupt you and blinding you as to your actual standing before God. These people are spots in your feasts of charity when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit withereth without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Woe to them! These people are spots in your feasts of charity. These feasts of charity are debated a great deal among believers today. The Apostle Paul dealt with the problem of these feasts of charity in the Corinthian church. Now, in Corinth, when believers met together in the early Christian church, part of the worship service that they had a meal which they called a love feast. If it was like a potluck supper where there's plenty of food and everyone's welcome, that's great. That is what Paul was encouraging and had in mind. But love feasts frequently degenerated, as the situation in Corinth had, into people saying that they were better than others by bringing better food and not sharing it. Jude is not dealing with that issue. The situation Jude is dealing with is a true love feast. These people were gathering together in true Christian love. But it says that these men who had crept in unawares were feasting with them, but were only feeding themselves. Jude describes them as feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit withereth without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Each one of these points is an illustration of something which should have been useful but was destructive instead. It lost its value to other people. Rain in the Bible is a symbol of God's blessing. A cloud which promises rain but fails to deliver on that promise is destructive. A fruit tree with withered fruit fails to deliver its promised blessing. A star is something that can be relied on with confidence. If you place your confidence for navigation in a wandering star, then you will get lost. We are to be steady year in and year out, a beacon for others, wandering stars destroy that confidence.